Welcome to the Billy Ho Forecast Show. Please subscribe and like the video. Remember, the more you share, the bigger we grow. Now, let's go! Hello, Billy Ho here. Today's show, we're going to preview the top 15 overall draft picks, round one bleeding into round two, depending on your league size. I am your host, Billy Ho. The video will focus primarily on PPR leagues, that is point per reception. And the reason I do that is because that's what you should be playing. That's the most fun. It scores the most points. I don't really know why people still play standard leagues anymore or touchdown only leagues. Ralph. But like best ball, DraftKings is that kind of scoring. That's what's going to apply to this video today. Be sure to stick around a little bit later on in the video. I'm going to reveal a couple of little value plays. And toward the bottom end of the tier here, I call this maybe tier one if you want to, 1.5. I don't really think in tiers. I'm going to do like this top 15 video and then probably do a rounds 2 through 4 video and then maybe a rounds 5 through 8 and then so on and so forth, kind of like that. But I thought this is just a good jump off point because you really want to everybody wants to get that number one pick right, don't you? I mean, you don't want to take somebody that I already made a hot take video on and then him, buster sauce your shit. And then you're relying on his backup to do damage. I mean, there ain't no Chuba Hubbards or whoever the hell's backing him up these days. Come on now. So I'm going to treat this video like we're playing in a 10 or a 12 man snake draft, kind of like that thing. And I did the top 15 because it covers a few like honorable mentions, first rounders. So I kind of went that route. Now, my number one player with a bullet, and it's everybody else's probably consensus number one player, is Jonathan Taylor, Indianapolis Colts running back. The Colts have about the best offensive line in the game, if not the best, at least the top 5. So I'm pretty good with that. I think Matt Ryan, I've already tweeted this earlier, I think he's an upgrade over Carson Wentz. I think Carson Wentz was overrated. He made a lot of mistakes and threw interceptions on the goal line when, they just need to just force feed Taylor at the goal line all day long. The man's going to get all the work. I mean, there's Nyheim Hines and I think Philip Lindsay backing him up, which is Nyheim Hines 2.0. So they've got like Bud and Bud Light, they got Bud, number one, Jonathan Taylor. And then they got Bud Light and Mick Ultra or whatever you want to call it. I don't know, but still, you know what I'm saying? Now, defenses have to respect Matt Ryan's ability to push the ball down the field. He got Pittman and a few other wide receivers. And I don't worry about people saying, oh, Matt Ryan doesn't throw to running backs. He didn't do that a lot in Atlanta. Well, that was Atlanta's offense. This is Frank Reich's offense. Matt Ryan has had 95 offensive coordinators, almost one every year he's been in the league. He knows to do what he's told. So down in the goal line is going to be Jonathan Taylor, Love. He's going to get receptions out of the backfield, all that kind of good stuff. And I mean, I'm not dogging Hines and Lindsay. They're going to be nice compliments. They'll be able to spell him. Hopefully, if they don't have to overuse him. I don't like that 30 touch per game shit. Jonathan Taylor, that's one thing he is. He's very efficient. He can do it in 15 touches, baby. You give them a 2 touchdown lead, and he's going to rip off a 70-yarder, and he's going to catch about 7 balls, and he's still going to get you yours with 15 touches. So, it is what it is. He also still has the youth and the experience. Colts are going to win games and control pace. He's going to get plenty of opportunities. And if y'all want a forecast, here's a forecast for you. 20 plus total touchdowns. He's going to be pushing 2,500 total yards, 50 receptions, and number one overall, obviously. Now, number two, I'm going to go ahead and take Mr. Derrick Henry. A lot of people are going to take him number one. I think he's a number two pick. And this is because I think he's 100% over the foot injury. I think he's good there. And in the few games that he played, 8 games last year, he had 10 TDs. He also had 18 receptions. So he was already going to surpass any kind of receiving year that he was going to have. So this year he might, if he gets 30 or 40 or over 40 receptions, I mean, he could surpass Taylor as number one for real. So anyway, he's going to be number two easily. Slight concern with AJ Brown being gone. They won't be able to stretch the defenses as much. So, they're going to kind of key in more on Henry. Robert Woods is a good wide receiver, but he's not the type that would turn over everything. I used to love Bob Woods. He was just a machine. Last year, he had a really crap year. So, they went ahead and cut him loose. So like I said, I feel very comfortable taking Henry number two. Now, the third pick, I'm still not ready to pull the trigger on wide receiver just yet. I know everybody wants Cooper Kupp. He's going to have 2,000 yards and 20 touchdowns again. That, if you look at the best receivers in their best years, they never, ever repeat that kind of production. So I'm going to put up my man on the big board right here. Is going to be number 3. Ring it up. Najee Harris. Anyway, Najee Harris, number 3 pick in the draft. He's a do-it-all back who catches passes for days. Big Ben, it was a shell of his former self last year, and the Pittsburgh offense was shit. This year, I know Trubisky's no Prince, but at least he knows how to dump off to a running back, and he's going to be able to avoid the sack and keep plays alive. So, he's going to get a lot of later on dump offs. And I can see a somewhat improved team and definitely better numbers. I feel like he's a solid number 3 pick. He could catch upwards of 70 or 80 balls this year. He's definitely going to have 1,500 total yards. Touchdowns are a question. He could have 8, he could have 12, he could have 15. I don't know where he's going to land on that, but I still feel pretty safe with him workload wise. Mike Tomlin loves a bell cow back. So he's my number 3 pick. Pretty solid choice there. Now, number 4 pick, I waffled a little bit. I kind of wanted to go Cooper Kupp here. But top 4, I really love running backs that catch the ball. And I'm going number 4, my man, Dalvin Cook. Now, at number 4, I think Dalvin Cook has big upside to improve on that 13-game season last year. He's fine as far as the health goes, but is always a risk to miss a few games due to injury. Soft tissue injuries, obviously. That's where he gets some little hamstring pulls and whatnot. Also, there's a slight downgrade, I think, in receptions because Cousins likes to push the ball down the field, A, and B, Justin Jefferson, C, Adam Thielen, D, Irv Smith. So they're going to have a hell of a great receiving core. So he's probably going to get less wide receiver screens. I still believe the Vikes are going to be a good team. They're going to lead games. I think they will control pace. And also, goal line carries go to Dalvin Cook. I watched him last year. He gets minimum 2 cracks at the end zone, sometimes 3 cracks at it. Dude gets all the carries at the goal line, and he might, occasionally lose one to Madison or Ham one way or the other, but he's going to be solid this year. I feel like 1,700 total yards, 40 or more catches, mid-teens touchdowns, and that's pretty solid. safe play as long as he doesn't miss any games, obviously. We never know. You can't predict that shit, so don't even try it. Number 5, this is going to be Cooper Kupp. Like I said earlier, I don't think he's going to repeat those 2K yards and 16 touchdowns, but I do think he's going to get plenty of targets. I think he catches somewhere in the range of 130 balls. He's going to have 1,400 yards and change, maybe pushing 15, and at least 12 to 15 touchdowns. He may even have more than that. The McVay offense just takes whatever. Now, Golf. Here we go now. Golf is not what we're doing today. We're doing football on the football field with a football. So it's Cam Akers. Acres of Cam at the goal line. So Kupp's going to miss a couple of those easy goal line, Devonta Adams-esque dump off from the 2-yard lines. So 16 down to 14, 13. I think that's acceptable. Nice top 5 pick. Can't be any safer on a wide receiver. So I feel pretty good about him. At number 6, I'm going Austin Ekeler in this spot. The Chargers offense is so good. They throw so much. He's obviously you could take 70 receptions and stick them in your pocket. Put 70 receptions right here in your pocket. Now, once he's get them 70 receptions, I think he's got a good path to about 1,500 total yards. He's still going to get 12 to 15 carries. He's still the lead back, technically, and he's going to catch, like I said, 70-plus balls easily. That's top 5. He's going to have double-digit touchdowns. I feel like he's going to catch 7 or 8 and then have another 7 on the ground. Easy double-digit touchdown. That's definitely the 6th pick and a steal. My 7th pick is going to Mr. Joe Mixon of Team Houday, the Cincinnati Bengals. And, of course, they shocked the world last year, showing up to the AFC Championship game with their Houday style of ball. They really played kind of a ugly, muck-it-up, smash-mouth kind of shit. Their defense is really, really good. That's why I like Joe Mixon a little bit more this year, because even though the wide receiver core will dazzle JaMarr Chase, T. Higgins, Boyd and whatnot, Mixon is still the linchpin of this offense. If not for Eckler's reception upside, I would have had Mixon number 6 easily. I can see the Bengals actually playing a little more mature and having more ball control, so Mixon can see a lot more work that he did last year. And with the exception of the Ravens, the rest of their division is going to be shit. So, they're going to win games. They got 2 rips against the Steelers and the Browns. And, it's just ugly. And, when it gets cold up in northern Cincinnati, he's going to get the ball at the goal line. So I'm feeling real good about that. I like him going for 1,600 plus total yards and another 40 to 50 receptions like last year, 13 to 15 touchdowns. I think he'll get plenty of goal line work. So looking good, Mr. Mixon. My number 8 overall choice in my little draft here is going to be one Justin Jefferson of the Minnesota Vikings. Dude is an absolute stud wide receiver. I loved watching him play last year. He's got great hands. He's got speed, size, everything you need. Now, what he's missing is a little TD uptick in touchdowns, and Adam Thielen a little downtick touchdowns. Adam Thielen always seems to get like goal line jacks and stuff. I think Adam Thielen's a year older, 33, 34 range. Justin Jefferson's going to take over. I feel like he's going to get up in double-digit range this year. Obviously, the receptions and the targets are going to go up. The yardage should be there. So I think if he adds to his production like he has from year 1 to year 2, year 3 is the magic year. We all know that for wide receivers. Year 3 is going to be nice. He should see well over 100 receptions. I think a bump in the yardage to push 1,700 and 10 to 13 touchdowns. I'm just making that shit up. It's just a prediction. That's what everybody else does. I don't have an algorithm, but it sounds like a good number to me. Now, my number 9 pick overall selection is going to be Leonard Fournette. Now, who doesn't want old playoff Lenny? I love Leonard Fournette. How do you not like this guy? Dude plays on the most pass-heavy team in the league and still finished as a top 10 running back. I think he had barely over 200 carries, but he had like 67 catches last year. Monster year. Better yet, Tom Brady likes the guy. He could see a bump in carries too, maybe. I don't know. Now more goal line TDs I see with no Gronk. Now, we don't know. Gronk may come back like week 7 or 8 or something like that. He's kind of playing that, oh, man, Gronk, I'm retired kind of thing. And we'll see how the Bucks do coming out the gate. And if they're like 7-1, here comes Gronk. But you're going to see a hell of a lot of goal line work out of Lenny. I remember that Colts game. He just absolutely ripped, roaring, and tearing, running all day. Dude is still young, still in his bit on the downside of 20, but he's still in that range. He didn't get a whole lot of work his first couple of years. He did have a little soft tissue trouble, but I'm okay with that. I think a realistic season here is 1,500 total yards, another 65 to 70 receptions, and low teens touchdowns. He could be huge. So I almost moved him up, but it's hard to say. Who are you going to take down? He could go over Justin Jefferson, maybe. It's real close in my book. Now, number 10 on the list is another bungle. Who days? JaMarr Chase. Now, many of you say, oh, how are you not taking JaMarr Chase in the top 5? That dude rips 200 yards a game. Yes, he's tight. I loved watching him play last year. This here, 7 of those 13 touchdowns he scored last year were from long distance. We saw right at the beginning of the season, he was catching 50, 60-yard touchdowns. Teams already have a full season of film on him to better prevent him from getting over the top. Now, I'm not saying he's not going to have long plays because he's still going to get loose, but not to that extent. What I do think, however, is that he can improve on those 81 catches he had last year, and he can still hit that 1,600-plus yard marker and maybe even more in absolutely double-digit touchdowns. So he might even out, but he's not going to have those long touchdowns. That's the only thing I figure. He might even out at around 10 TDs because you still have T. Higgins, you still have Boyd, you have Mixon, I just mentioned earlier, going to get more work. So you just got to be on the lookout for that. That's why I pushed him a little bit to number 10. I don't know if that's right, wrong, or indifferent, but that's where I land. So here we go. 11th pick is, can you Diggs it? Stefon Diggs. I love me some Diggs. And yes, he had a bit of a down year last year, or what people say he had a down year. But the only really thing he had is a downtick in catch rate, because he had 160 targets. He barely caught over 100 balls. And he had a downtick in yardage. He was just catching 9, and he was his yards per what do they call that? ADOT, average depth of target, was down, way down from what is normal. But I think he'll improve on that this year. The 160 targets aren't going anywhere. People feel like he had that down year, but like I said, downtick, and as long as he catches more balls, Josh Allen's a year older, a year wiser, a year more accurate, hopefully. So if he gets an uptick in that, catches 120 passes, 1,400 yards, 12 touchdowns, safe as house's 11th pick, I think. Solid jump off number 1 receiver. If you're good with that, say you're the 12th pick in the draft, he might fall to you, or you're the 11th pick. You can take Diggs, and then swinging back around, you can get somebody else like a running back, or if one of these guys happen to fall to you, you never know. But I like that as a jumping off point. And the number 12 pick in this year's draft, overall selection, I am going to go ahead and take Devonta Adams. Wow. I know Devonta. Well, if you knew Billy Ho several years back, the old SmackDown League champs, I believe it was this 2015 year right here. I scooped up a late round sleeper for the SmackDown squad. Devonta had over 1,000 yards and 12 touchdowns that year to take me to that fourth title. And dude's an elite route runner, probably the best hands in the league. He should catch plenty of passes. I feel like they signed him for, I think he said, I swear I thought I heard him say, yes, I'm taking less money than Green Bay offered me, because he wanted to probably get the hell away from Aaron Rodgers. Maybe, I don't know. You can only take so much of that guy, I think. Personally, I don't know him, but, it just what I hear. But so he goes from Aaron Rodgers to Derek Carr. Now, him and Carr were college teammates at Fresno State, I found out, which is kind of cool. I don't know that matters because they've both been in the league a long time. But like I said, I think he signed for less money. They have Josh McDaniels as their head coach now. He can run that old school New England offense where Carr can be spreading the ball around and wheeling and dealing. You still have Darren Waller. You still have Hunter Renfrow, and you have Devonta Adams. And then you have Jacobs. The backfield's kind of muddy. I'm not really sure. Kenyon Drake. Jacobs has trouble staying healthy. So they may throw a little bit more under Josh McDaniels. I kind of feel like he's a more of a pass heavier guy. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Devonta can do. And I think signing for less money, he was probably promised to be kind of the focal point of the offense. That's just my feeling. I feel like he should still hit 100 receptions, 1,200 yards, and be pushing double-digit touchdowns. The Raiders are legit going to contend this year. I absolutely think they're making the playoffs. The Chargers and the Chiefs, it's a tough division. Denver's going to be the odd man out. I don't know how Russell Wilson can resurrect that team. They're just the fourth best team in a loaded division. So I still think the Raiders can get in as a wild card at least and make a little noise. Now, the number 13 pick overall, this is how you can change your mind, folks. I just did this today. I originally had Alvin Kamara slated in this spot, but I decided to go ahead and swap him and DeAndre Swift. So I'm going to go my 13th pick, DeAndre Swift, because I read some good things this week that I really liked. I feel like he's going to finish probably easily top 10 running back, as long as he stays healthy. Obviously, that's always a given. This is what I found out. I love that the Lions spent draft capital and free agent capital on boosting their O-line. Jared Goff, say what you will about him. He's kind of a, goof, if you want to call him Jared Goof, but he's still a capable quarterback. The man knows how to throw a football. And he does know how to check down to a good pass catching running back like DeAndre Swift. And DeAndre Swift was on his way to a really, really nice season last year until he derailed for a few games due to injury. I think he'll see his best season as a pro. Even if Jamal Williams takes 30% of the snaps, I don't think that's going to matter. I think I've moved him up in my rankings. He can legit 1,200 plus total yards, 70 plus receptions, 8 to 10 touchdowns. The Lions are going to surprise a few people this year, but that may be 6-11. They won't only win 3 games. It'll be 6 games. So I think they'll sneak up on some people, and I hope so. I root for the Lions. So, all right, now we're getting into the end of the video here, folks. So I got the 14th pick overall, and I'm going to take CeeDee Lamb. I am a self-deprecating Cowboys fan. So I would probably draft CeeDee Lamb if he's in the top 15 easily. I love me some Cowboys. I might try to get Dak because I think Dak's throwing all day this year. Now we have no Amari Cooper lands Lamb right as in the number one stunner crosshairs, but I think he's up to the challenge. Dude makes acrobatic catches. He had a pretty decent year too for a pass happy Cowboys offense. And I'm feeling Dak's going to get that workout on that arm again this year. I see easily 150 targets from my man CD. I think Gallup will gain. The Cowboys O-line should be improved. And as long as they stay relatively healthy, I think they'll be all right. The addition of James Washington should help a little bit, take the pressure off. But I can see CeeDee Lamb cracking 100 receptions this year. I see him going. He could go for more than 1,300. I originally wrote down 1,300, but he could be pushing 1,500 because the dude can break off a defense, no doubt. And 9 to 10 touchdowns because you're still going to get your Zeke love. You're still going to have Pollard in there. You're still going to have Dalton Schultz in there. Gallup's going to be up and coming. And Dak does spread the ball around, but I still think CeeDee Lamb is going to get his. So that's where I land. CeeDee Lamb, number 14. And drum roll, our last guy in the draft is going to be Mr. Alvin Kamara. Now, Alvin Kamara, he's a stud. He's a top 5 draft pick and all that. Well, he had a down year last year, and so did the Saints. Coach is gone. But if the Saints can keep famous Jameis Winston upright and Mike Thomas can give them anything except for a busted up excuse and an ankle, I think Kamara can have a nice bounce back season. They also added a solid veteran in Jarvis Landry, and Jameis loves to throw to these type of guys. And he's definitely not scared to dump it off out of the backfield. The Saints offense, I think, can be pretty good. I think with the new coaching staff, maybe we're finally done with this Taysom Hill project. Now, not saying the dude won't come in for a snap or two on a 3rd and 1 or a 4th down and goal or some shit like that. Maybe he will. I just don't know. But I feel like Kamara is definitely going to dominate snaps, even with Mark Ingram there. Mark Ingram is 32 years old. The dude is not Mark Ingram from when they were both dominating 5 years ago or whenever it was. Kamara was solid last season, actually, in 7 games with Jameis Winston. I could see him getting back up into the 1,200 total yard range, 60 catches, double-digit TDs all day. And you never know. He always has those big 4 TD games. So it's probably going to, pump him up in the touchdown department. So I'm good with that. And that's going to do it, actually, ladies and gentlemen. I like those picks. I hope you did too. I hope you got a little something out of it. Hopefully a little entertainment. Hopefully maybe a few stats. Hopefully a little bit of knowledge. This is just early stages. We still got a long way to go. OTAs and training camp, preseason and all that. But I wanted to start getting stuff out there so people can start their prep work. Now, and this is just initial prep work. So next video, like I said, will probably be something in the neighborhood of rounds 2 through 4. Be on the lookout. Hopefully it'll hit this weekend. Until the next video, peace.